Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be building out this design that we made in the previous video. So it's going to be a relatively short video because this design is quite simple to build. And what I've done is in my new instance of Visual Studio Code, I have my fonts folder here which contains the fonts that we're going to be using in this project. And then we have the images here, which is the hero image, which is this bicycle here. And then we have the company logos, which are these ones on the bottom, and then we have the logo, which is this one on the top left. So that's basically it. And in order to get access to this, all you'll need to do is clone the repository, and the link is going to be in the description below, so be sure to check it out. And then what I'm going to do is at the end of this video, that's when I'm going to commit this to GitHub. And then I have this style guide here, which just contains the colors that we're going to be using for this project, and the font once again is going to just refer you to the fonts folder inside here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create an index.html file, and then I'm also going to create an index.css file. And then using emmet, I'm just going to say exclamation and enter, which is going to generate this boilerplate for me. And then I'm going to change this document title into, let me remember this, CTM, this one. And then I'm just going to say exercise for everyone. This is going to be our document title. And then below this, we are going to have a header, and the header is going to be our logo here, and then our sign up button. So I'm going to create a div here, and then this div is going to have an image that comes from /images/logo.svg. And then below this, we're going to have a button, and this button is going to say sign up. And then we're going to give this button a class name of CTA, meaning call to action. And then, you know what, let me give this div a class of header just to separate it out. So sorry, logo, not header, a class of logo. And then below this header, we are going to have a section with a class of showcase. And then inside this section in the class of showcase, we're going to have an article. And then this article is going to have an h1, and the h1 says this, so just copy and paste. And then below this, we're going to have a paragraph that says this, copy and then just paste it. And then below this, we're going to have a button with a class of CTA, meaning it is going to take the styles of this same button. And this one says get started. And then below this, we're going to have a UL with 4 list items, and these 4 list items are going to be images like so. And now let me make them into links. So images and then links. Wait, is that correct? No, it should be links and then images, so that the images are wrapped inside the links. And then this first one is going to say Airbnb. So let me just get the image here from ./images/Airbnb. This second one says Apple, so images/Apple. This third one should say Uber, so ./images/Uber. And then this final one should say Windows, so Windows. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to link the actual websites inside here, so airbnb.com. And then let me just copy this, paste it here and here and here, and then change this into Apple, change this into Uber, and then change this into Microsoft. And then once we have that, then I'm going to go outside of this article, and then I'm going to add another article, and this is going to be our big hero image of the bicycle. This is going to come from ./images/hero.svg. And then once we have that, then let's remember to link our CSS file. So link this into index.css, and then we can just go ahead and save this. And then I'm going to be using an extension called live server. So if you go into extensions, you can install an extension called live server, which is going to launch a local server with live reload. And then I'm just going to say right click and say open with live server. And so once our server opens up, you can see that this is what we're going to have on the screen. So let me place this to the right, and then place my code editor to the left, and then we can begin to work in our index.css, because I think we are done with our index.html. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to reset some of these styles, because we don't need all these margins, all these spaces. So I'm going to say asterisk, and I'm going to say reset the margin to 0, reset the padding to 0, and reset the box sizing to border box. And then when I save this, you'll notice that everything now gets squeezed up just a bit. And then let me say that for all the images to have a max width of 100%. And then let me also give them a width of 100%. So so that now this is going to happen for all the images. And then let me also specify that for all my list items to have a list style type of none, so that we don't have bulleted lists. And then let me go ahead and do this. Let me see. The body needs to have a very slight background color. So background color, set this into, I think it is FFF7F7. That is the correct one. And then what we need to do is, let me try to remember, we need to change this font. So let's go ahead and do this. What I'm going to do is, how we are going to be using these fonts is the following. We are going to specify a font face here. So add font face, and then I'm going to call my font family YouTube Sans. And you know, this is just going to be the regular, or let me say, which one do I have here? This is medium, light, long. Let me specify light. And then the URL here is going to be going into /fonts/YouTube Sans light, which is going to be for our paragraphs. And then I'm going to copy this downwards, and then I'm going to change this into YouTube Sans bold, and then change this into the bold true type font. And then now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to specify the body to have a font family of the YouTube Sans light. And then I'm going to specify that for the H1, because we only have one H1, it's going to have a font family of YouTube Sans bold. So meaning it's going to take up this and this one respectively. So let me save this and look at that. You can see that now our font changes. And you know what? I want even the buttons to have the same font family. So let me grab this from here, and then let me specify it on the HTML element here. And that should fix it. Or not, let me grab it from here, remove it from here, and specify it on my asterisk here. That should fix it. There we go. And so we're going to have that. So let's begin to style this out accordingly. So I'm going to access the header, and I'm going to say display flex of the header, and then align item center and justify content to space between. And then I'm also going to say add a padding all round of 1.25 rem, which is about 20 pixels. That's looking okay. And then for the header, I want to access the class of logo, and then access the image inside and increase the width to about 150 pixels. That's okay. And then let me specify, let me access the class of CTA above everything and give it a background color of black. Okay. And then I'm going to give it a text color of white, and then I'm going to give it a padding of 0.8 rem on the top and bottom, and let me say 2.5 rem on the left and right. Let me see how that looks. That's looking nice. And then let's specify a font size here. Can't see what I'm typing. A font size of 1 rem, so that the font size increases to 16 pixels. And then let me see, let's add a transition here, and I'm going to say transition all the elements by 0.3 seconds and ease in out. And then let me specify for the CTA, for the hover state, then I want the opacity here to reduce to 0.75, which is 75%, so that now when I hover over this, look at this, it just becomes slightly opaque. And then let me change the cursor here to pointer. Let me add it here. So cursor pointer, so that now when you hover over it, then the cursor changes to a pointer, meaning it's going to be clickable. So that's looking nice, right? That's looking quite nice. This is a bit too big on mobile, so let me change this to 100 pixels. Or let me see. No, let me just retain the original size here, and then probably we can change this to 150 when we add in a media query. And so next, let's access the showcase. So let's access the showcase, and then let's add a padding of 0 on the top, because I don't want to increase the margin here. And then I want to say 1.25 rem on the left and right, and 4 rem on the bottom. And I've chosen 4 rem on the bottom because I want to have a bit of leeway when we scroll down here. And then what we're going to do is now access the H1. So showcase H1, increase the font size here to 3 rem, make it bigger, increase the margin bottom to 1 rem, pushed away from the paragraph. And then I'm going to access the showcase paragraph, increase the line height to 1.8, make it just a bit bigger, and then increase the margin bottom to 2 rem to push away from this button. And then once you have that, okay, you know what, let me also add some padding on the top because this is too close to this. So let me change it. Let me say 4 rem on the top and bottom, and then I can remove this from here because now this means 4 rem on the top and bottom and 1.25 rem on the left and right. Okay, that's looking okay. Let me change this to 2.5. It's a bit big on mobile, just a big, yeah, that's better, that's better. And then let's go ahead and grab this UL. So for the showcase UL, let's say display flex, so that it goes here like so, and then align it up center, and then justify content to flex start, and then let's add a gap here of about 2 rem to push it from one another, and then let's add a margin on the top of 2 rem pushed away from the bottom. That's looking quite nice. And then finally we have this image. Now I'm thinking that probably this image should come on top, on mobile that is. So what I'm going to do is inside the showcase, I'm going to say display flex and flex direction, set this into column reverse so that now the image comes on top and then this goes on the bottom, and then add a gap here of about 4 rem to increase this gap so that it has a bit of gap between this image and the text. And would you look at that, that is the mobile design looking amazing. And then now all we need to do is just scale this up. So right at around 768 pixels, then we're going to begin to add our media queries. So I'm going to say at media for a min width of 768 pixels. Then I want to access the header and the div with the class of logo and then the image inside. And then I want to paste in this. I copied it, but I didn't paste it in, so remove this so that this increases the width to 150 pixels. Just make it a bit big, as you can see. And then let's go ahead and let's access the showcase. And I'm going to say change the showcase flex direction here to row, meaning this is going to come here and then this is going to come here. That's looking okay. And then what we need to do is, let me also say align item center so it pushes downwards. So I'm going to say align item center, pushes downwards just a bit. And then now we want this to take up 50% and then this to also take up 50% instead of what it is doing right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to access the showcase and then both articles, because we have placed this inside one article and then this inside another article. And then I'm going to give them a flex of 1, meaning they're going to grow to take up 50%, or rather like equal, an equal space for each of them depending on the space that they have. And then once we have that, then we are also going to add another media query right around here. So I'm going to say at media for a min width of, let's say, 1024 pixels. Then I want the showcase to have a height of 60 viewport heights. 60 looks too small. Let me make it 70 just a bit. So 70, so that it looks as though it is almost centered, but it's not quite centered. And then now what I want to do is add a max width on the body so that this doesn't go all the way to the end, because this is a bit big, right? And I can do it here, and I can just say that let the body, when we have a min width of 1024 pixels, let the body have a max width of, let's say, 1200 pixels. And then when I save this, it's going to be aligned to the left because it is now limited to 1200 pixels. And then I can set the margin here to auto, which is going to bring it back to the center. But I don't want to do this here. I mean, there's nothing wrong to do it here. There's nothing wrong. I just like doing it above here. Where's the body here? I like doing it here because these styles they are kind of independent, because you don't have to add them inside a media query for them to apply. Okay, would you look at that? So let me now increase the size of this H1. So right around here, let's say that for the showcase H1, increase the font size to 4 rem. Okay, and then for the showcase paragraph, increase the font size to 1.5 rem. I think that is 24 pixels. And this being 24 pixels, now it looks just a bit squeezed, right? It does look just a bit squeezed. So let's increase this max width here to 1300 pixels. That's looking much better, much better. And then we can go back and increase the height here to 80, just to play around with these heights. And then let's increase probably the size of these buttons. So let me go above this and say that for the CTA, let's increase the font size font size, increase this to about 1.25 rem. Just make the buttons a bit bigger, and then let's also increase the size of these images. So for the showcase, I have the showcase and then the UL and then the LI and then the anchor tags and then the images. Increase the width of this to about, let's say, 2 rem. Let me say 2.5 rem. There we go. That's looking okay. That's looking okay. And would you look at that? We have our landing page build. It looks quite nice, quite elegant. And so now what I want to do is we need to create a GitHub repository for this. And you know what? I could have created a favicon. No, I'm not going to do that. So let me create a GitHub repository here. So GitHub. And then I'm also going to deploy. So let me open up Netlify as well. So let me log into GitHub here. Let's create a new repository. And this repository, let me say, what name should I give it? Exercitium YT. And then create repository. And then let's copy this. And then let's shut this down. We can close this and this one as well. And then let's just open up our terminal using Control and J. And then let's say git init. And then git add all. So add everything. And then git commit -m. And I'm going to say initial commit. And then I'm going to say git remote add origin. And then paste in the link to our remote repository. And then git push -u origin main. And these steps that I'm doing here are basically these ones right here. So you can just follow this and it's going to do the exact same thing. And probably I should create a readme. You know what? Let me rename this to readme. Readme.md. Oh, you know what? I've just realized this is not black. This is not black because I've just opened this up. So let me change it. Let me copy this color, change it. Where is my paragraph? So the first declaration of the paragraph should be here. Oops. Change the color here to this. Save it. And then now let's commit the changes. So I'm going to say git add index.css and git commit, and I'm going to say update paragraph color. And then I'm going to say git add readme.md, and I'm going to say git commit -m, and I'm just going to call this readme. And then git push. And then once it pushes, then it's going to push the changes here as well, so that now when I reload this, then we are going to be able to see our changes. So we have the readme here, so for the paragraph, and all that. So let me go ahead and now let's log into Netlify. Let's import an existing project from GitHub, and then let's deploy this. So it is called Exercitium. That's exercise in Latin. I googled it. So let's deploy this. And then let's say deploy site. And then let's change this site name. Change site name here. Let me say TsbSankara. Let's say Exercitium. Save this. And now let me change it. Let me change it into Exercitium YT to keep it consistent with the repository. And then when I open this up, then we should be able to see our application. Would you look at that, looking quite nice? Okay, so that is going to be the end of the project. And if you like the video, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and ring the notification bell so that you're always going to be notified of when I upload a new video.